No one likes debt, but boy do we Australians know how to rack it up. We have almost $32 billion owing on plastic. How to get back in the black?
It's the unspoken Australian epidemic.
We're a country addicted to credit.
$3,500.
$4,000.
$30,000.
So how do you get your debt down and gain financial freedom? Tonight we meet the families who have done it.
I managed to get myself out of $30,000 worth of debt.
And hear the financial guru's credit cap plan.
Let's reform and change how much credit we're actually going to give.
Everything's put on hold. Like we are just able to afford the four walls around us and living on a very, very strict budget.
They're only in their early 20s, but Jordan and Callan have $17,000 worth of debt. It all started with a $2,000 credit card, approved in just minutes. Soon things spiralled out of control.
It impacts things in the future. At 21, I shouldn't be thinking about, like, there's no hope for kids in the next 5 years easy, because we can't afford it.
The average adult Aussie owes around $4,000 on their credit card. If they're to pay off only the minimum amount, it'd take them a whopping 46 years and 6 months. And it'd cost $18,800.
I guess it's just in their interest to keep you in debt.
While at school, Fiona Brand's addiction to shopping saw her rack up $8,000 worth of debt. It's shadowed the 46-year-old for years.
So how much interest have you paid?
I've estimated around about $4,000 in interest.
That's half of the money that you've been loaned.
It is.
On the outside, it looked like that I had everything.
Yeah.
But on the inside, what was happening, I was dealing with some really crippling debt.
Like many 20-somethings, Brianna McDermott thought the answer to happiness was in an Amex. But overseas trips and fancy restaurants soon left her owing more than $30,000 on the credit card. One day, enough became enough, and she devised a debt diet.
I really stripped it back and made it incredibly basic. That was the only way for me that I was going to succeed. So I would sit at my kitchen bench and literally use a piece of paper to separate my cash into three key stashes. If I can do it, I know anybody can.
So here's how she did it. 60% of income towards expenses, rent, groceries, power bills, all the things we don't like to spend money on but have to. 20% to everyday savings in case of an emergency. 10% to spend on yourself and 10% for the future to invest. The credit card debt came out of her expenses allocation, and in just 3 years she managed to get rid of the $30,000 she owed.
I have my own home, I'm about to buy my second property, and I've also started my own share portfolio.
Interest rates at 20% compared to personal loans maybe at 8 or 9, and then home loans at 5, they really are a financial trap.
So what are the big mistakes that people make? According to finance guru Scott Hayward, the first is switching to a 0% credit card.
Because as soon as you chop up your other credit card and go to 0% on the new card, as soon as you make a transaction on that new card, that's interest at 20%. So people need to be aware that just by simply clearing the card, it doesn't mean you're not going to accumulate more interest charges.
Then there's the tempting cash advance option.
You're not only paying high levels of interest, you could also be paying advancement fees or cash advancement fees, which could be anywhere between $30 to $50 or even $80 per transaction.
If you are paying over 20%, it's time to switch to a lower rate card.
If a credit card is a must, make sure you're getting a good deal. Kirsty Lamont from Mozo says you can save around $800 a year by switching.
The American Express low rate credit card, the Community First McGrath Pink Visa credit card are two of the cards that offer the lowest rates on the market of 8.99%. There's also a couple of other cards under 10%, like the Bank First low rate credit card and the GNC Mutual.
Scott believes there's too many dud products on the market. He's calling for new laws to cap credit.
I think banks and the government should look at giving credit card limits at 5% of people's assessable income, reviewed annually based on their notice of assessment, which means if you're on $50,000 a year, the maximum credit card you can get with all lenders is only $2,500.
Yeah, anything that sort of shakes up the banks or looks into them, I'm really for.
For Fiona, there was only one option left: to cut up the card.
I went to a friend who's a financial advisor and he actually suggested a small low interest rate loan to consolidate both cards and effectively pay a much lower interest rate, and that has actually really been an effective way of erasing the debt, so I feel positive about that.
You'll find more on that story at 9saver.com.au.